Failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor. Quotes Truman Capote. Love, having no geography, knows no boundaries. Wait and sink it deep, no matter. It will rise and find the surface. The greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do. The truly frightening flaw in humanity is our capacity for cruelty. We all have it. It's a scientific fact that if you stay in California, you lose 1 point of your IQ every year. Silence is the answer to many of life's problems. It's a shame that more people don't use it. Writing has laws of perspective, of light and shade, just as painting does, or music. If you are born knowing them, fine. If not, learn them. Then rearrange the rules to suit yourself. The greatest talent of a writer is to be able to ignore everything that is not essential to the story. It should take you about 4 seconds to walk from here to the door. I'll give you 2. Reading dreams. That's what started her walking down the road. Every day she'd walk a little further, a mile, and come home. 2 miles, and come home. One day she just kept on. There is only one unpardonable sin: deliberate cruelty. All else can be forgiven. Maybe the older you grow and the less easy it is to put thought into action. Maybe that's why it gets all locked up in your head and becomes a burden. Conversation is a dialogue, not a monologue. That's why there are so few good conversations. Due to scarcity, 2 intelligent talkers seldom meet. The wind is us, it gathers and remembers all our voices, then sends them talking and telling through the leaves in the fields. It's bad enough in life to do without something you want, but confound it, what gets my goat is not being able to give somebody something you want them to have. There were hints of sunrise on the rim of the sky, yet it was still dark, and the traces of morning color were like goldfish swimming in ink. Have you never heard what the wise man say? All of the future exists in the past. Failure is the condiment that gives success its flavor. Quotes Truman Capote. Our real fears are the sounds of footsteps walking in the corridors of our minds, and the anxieties, the phantom floatings, they create. A disquieting loneliness came into my life, but it induced no hunger for friends of longer acquaintance. They seemed now like a salt-free, sugarless diet. Never love a wild thing. You can't give your heart to a wild thing. The more you do, the stronger they get. Until they're strong enough to run into the woods. Or fly into a tree. Then a taller tree. Then the sky.
Writing has laws of perspective, of light and shade, just as painting does, or music. If you are born knowing them, fine. If not, learn them. Then rearrange the rules to suit yourself. Still, when all is said, somewhere one must belong. Even the soaring falcon returns to its master's wrist. The average personality reshapes frequently. Every few years, even our bodies undergo a complete overhaul, desirable or not. It is a natural thing that we should change. Hot weather opens the skull of a city, exposing its white brain and its heart of nerves, which sizzle like the wires inside a light bulb. And there exudes a sour, extra-human smell that makes the very stone seem flesh alive, webbed and pulsing. Any love is natural and beautiful that lies within a person's nature. Only hypocrites would hold a man responsible for what he loves. Emotional illiterates and those of righteous envy, who, in their agitated concern, mistakes so frequently the arrow pointing to heaven for the one that leads to hell. She was a triumph over ugliness, so often more beguiling than real beauty, if only because it contains paradox. But I know what I like. She smiled, and the cat dropped to the floor. It's like Tiffany's, she said. Not that I give a hoot about jewelry. Diamonds, yes, but it's tacky to wear diamonds before you're 40, and even that's risky.
But you can't give your heart to a wild thing. The more you do, the stronger they get. Until they're strong enough to run into the woods. Or fly into a tree. Then a taller tree. Then the sky. I don't think I've ever drunk champagne before breakfast before. With breakfast on several occasions, but never before. Friendship is a pretty full-time occupation if you really are friendly with somebody. You can't have too many friends because then you're just not really friends. She was a triumph over ugliness, so often more beguiling than real beauty, if only because it contains paradox. In this case, as opposed to the scrupulous method of good taste and scientific grooming, the trick had been worked by exaggerating defects. She'd made them ornamental by admitting them boldly. One day she told the class, "Nancy Clutter is always in a hurry, but she always has time." And that's one definition of a lady.